Welcome to another episode of Healthy Cooking with me, Chef Keith. This is a show where I will show you how to make healthy meals in the comfort of your very own kitchen. But before I go any further, let me thank our sponsors who've made this show possible, and they are WGLRO.com, Meet My Types Matchmaking, Urban Grandstand Digital, Scott's Cares Foundation, Blends to Blends Juice Bar Boutique, Renovations, and New Covenant of Praise Worship Center. Welcome again, Source Nation. Thank you for joining me again this week. Today's tasty dish is not going to be just one dish. It's actually going to be a lot of dish, and that's because today is actually the last day of the musical performance for my oldest daughter, who's graduating high school this year. So this is her last musical, and she's been in the musicals for the last 4 years. So she asked me, could she throw the cast party after the last show so that everybody can come over to the house. So in a couple hours, my house is going to actually be teeming with dozens of teenagers. So what I have is a couple hours in order to make a meal in which they basically chose the menu and said what they wanted. A lot of friends are excited about it. My first love, of course, is on the barbecue grill. So they wanted some grill. It's a beautiful day. So stick with Healthy Cooking with Chef Keith. I'm going to show you the ultimate cast party barbecue feast. I got ribs and I got 30 pounds of chicken. I'm going to show you how to get it done. So I went ahead and got my cherry wood just for this particular meal. I got my cherry wood soaking because I don't want my wood to burn up too fast here. So I'm going to use my smoker, my grill as a semi-smoker today for the barbecue ribs. Also, I went ahead and got me a barrel grill, which, as far as I'm concerned, is the only way to really truly barbecue, because for this amount of people, I'm going to be cooking a lot of food. So I have it all set up so you can see I use one side to keep it open. That will be my cool down side, also my side for smoking as well. Me personally, I'm not a sauce guy, I'm a dry rub guy. I think a lot of people try to find the easy way out by using sauce, and they don't actually have to season the meat. So me personally, I try to make my barbecue all about the dry rub itself. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make this is one of my combinations of dry rubs I like to use. So as you can see, I got a 1/4 cup of brown sugar to go here, and a little bit's going to go a long way. Got about 15 pounds of ribs here. All right, and there's a 1/4 of cumin, and I'm going to use a 1/4 of cayenne pepper as well. Well, just a little bit under a 1/4. I won't go too much. There's a because I got a lot of ribs here, so I'm not going to over season here. Usually some people they actually like sauce. I'm not knocking people who like sauce. I just think a lot of times, especially when I go to barbecue places, I ask for the ribs without sauce. I actually want to taste the meat itself and see, what they did with it. And most of the time they did nothing to it. That's a quarter of pepper, sorry. So we're using quarter cups of everything. And like I said, this is going to be a dry rub. So we got a quarter cup of onion powder. We're going to use a quarter of ground mustard as well. So we're going to use a quarter ground mustard. Little wind trying to cool things off a bit here. Whoop. All right, we got some ground mustard there. I just put in the onion powder. I'm gonna use a little bit of chili powder for a little something something. And I also want to use, well, I'm not going to use a quarter cup of chili powder. I'm going to use actually an eighth a cup of chili powder there. And I'm also going to use a quarter cup of garlic powder as well. And last but not least, just a quarter of salt. And like I said, I don't go with too much of the combination seasonings, the garlic pepper or the lemon pepper or things like that, garlic salt. I go with as much of the regular ingredients as I can. So I'm just going to stir this up here and get that all nice and ready. And I'm going to get my ribs ready now. So I'll cut the end piece off there where there's no bone or a small bone. And then I cut, and I have them cold. Makes them easier to cut, at least for me. Alright, so I'm just going to cut down this piece here right along the bone. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and finish this piece off here. Now what I'm going to do eventually with this piece, I'm going to put a little sear on it to cook it too. And see, so I like to have the piece like this. Now I could also cut this off here, but I'm not going to do that this time around. Alright, so just going to go ahead and finish off my other slab here. The same way. And sometimes you get like this piece going across the back here. You definitely can cut this off here on the back. There's like a, see that? You can cut this piece off here. See, just like that, it'll come straight off. So I'm going to take that off too and continue the same cut. And another piece here. See that end piece? I'm going to go ahead and chop that as well right there off the end. I like to cook all those pieces separate. A lot of kids in this neighborhood, I guess, their parents don't barbecue. So they're actually like requesting that Celestia and Kayla's dad, which is who I am. I no longer have a name of my own anymore. I'm dad now, so. And a lot of the kids call me dad too, so just something I'm kind of used to at this point. So I'm just going to cut this piece off here to finish it off. There we go. And I'm going to chop this into pieces. And I'm going to cook these separate. And there we go. Alright, now time for the messy part. Go ahead and take my slab here. I'm going to be generous with my rub here. 'cause I got enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that rub going. And of course, that's why they call it a rub, because you're actually gonna rub the seasoning into the meat here. Alright, just like a massage, just like you would do for that special someone, because we all know, Taurus Nation, right? Cooking is all about the love, isn't it? So I'm not going to put as much on the back here. Alright, so there, that's what we're looking at. Nice and easy. We do the same thing here. Alright, so we're going to do the same thing here, because what this is going to do is put a nice crust down on the ribs, cutting no corners. I like to eat my ribs, and I won't do the second side because it's sitting on top of this other slab, so we'll keep it like that. And then for our last rack here, just gonna smooth it all down in there. Just gonna give it a nice, like I said, I like to cut no corners. I like for people to eat my barbecue with no sauce, even though I can make sauce. To me, it's all about the seasoning. Alright, so that's ready to go. Last but not least, I'm gonna go ahead, and these are all the pieces that I took out here. I'm just gonna dump the rest in there, and I'm just gonna toss this together, because I'm gonna put a sear on these, but I'm not gonna cook them on the grill the same way that I did that I'm going to do the entire ribs. I'm going to cook these a little bit slower. These are pretty good cuts. These are pretty good cuts if you cook them properly, because they don't have the bone in them enough to keep them. So with the tips and everything like that, you know, there's actually a art to actually cooking these. Well, they are for me. So I'm gonna put a little red wine in there and slow cook them down, and there they go. Just a little toss, easy. We got a nice little char going on there. That's what we like to see. See that? That's forming that crust that I was talking about earlier. So I done seared the rib tips now, you know, with that dry rub on them. And now I'm gonna put them into a little bath I made for safekeeping. Okay, so what I did after searing the rib tips, I went ahead and got me a metal container here, and what I'm going to do is I put that, all that is water in there. I just seared the outside of them so that I could just get that, lock in the seasoning and that flavor. And so all I'm going to do now is dice up, well, I'm not even going to dice it, just a little rough chop on some onion. So I'm just going to rough chop on some onion here. A little rough chop on some onion. I'm probably going to throw some garlic cloves in there. Okay, so while I prepare the fruit salad, which is going to consist of pineapple, cantaloupe, watermelon, strawberries, I'm going to use a little lettuce with a little oil and vinegar dressing. While I'm preparing that, I'm going to let you listen to one of my daughter's selections from her musical, since this is a tribute to her and her cast party. So while you're watching the video, you'll see me creating the fruit salad, but the audio, you will be able to chance to listen to my daughter in last year's musical. But I'll also, before the end of the show, let you hear her sing in this year's musical. Enjoy.
Believe what you feel and know you're right, because the time will come around when you'll say it's yours. Believe that you can go, believe that you can float on air, then click your heels 3 times. If you believe, then you'll be there. Believe in yourself right from the start. Believe in the magic that's there in your heart. Believe all these things, not what I told you to. Yeah, but if you believe in yourself, if you believe in yourself, just believe in yourself as I believe in you. Look at the trip you made. I know you must be tired by now, so rest here in the shade. Oh, the journey that you've had to make, I watched you bear the load, but you can always stay at my place when you come off the road. And if you ever need someone, count on me anytime. I'll be here to lay you down, because a rested body is a rested mind. Because a rested body is a rested mind. A rested body is a rested.
As you can see, rib tips cooking in here, and the little broth we made. Look at that. How beautiful is that? Those are some beautiful ribs, I tell you. I got here, I actually have 30 pounds of chicken. Kids wanted specialty barbecue chicken. It's actually been in a brine that I made with lemon juice and garlic. Pieces here. Skin side down. So since I brined them already, I'm not going to add any seasoning to the outside. The skin should be nice and crispy. Now, what do you think? Wasn't that simple? And once you try it, you'll find out just how tasty it will be. But before I let you go, I would just like to thank our sponsors who made this show possible once again. And they are WGLRO.com, Scott's Cares Foundation, Urban Grandstand Digital, Meet My Types Matchmaking, Blend to Blend, Juice Bar Boutique, Renovations, and New Covenant of Praise Worship Center. Now, remember to join me again next week as I'll show you how to make a tasty, affordable, and gourmet style meal in the comfort of your very own kitchen. So just remember, easy, healthy, tasty, gourmet style cooking is as close to you as you are to your kitchen. I'll see you next week. And before we go this one last time, I'm going to let you, as promised, I'm going to give you another selection from my daughter's musical this year. Remember, she's a senior and she'll be graduating. She's been in musicals for the last 8 years. This is her final one in high school. So one more selection. And thank you for listening. And if you're looking at the video, you'll get a chance to see all the young people enjoying their cast party over at the house.